It's the Brian Whitman Podcast Show at brianwhitman.com every day, Monday through Friday. It's about an hour. It's usually a little more than an hour, sometimes less than an hour. I think Monday, it's definitely going to be more than an hour here on the Brian Whitman Podcast Show. And our special guest is my buddy, Tim Conway Jr., who's going to be here. Timmy, look at you, man. On his website, timconwayjr.com, his website is his name. He'll make an announcement as to his next project he's got going on, and that announcement will be on his website on Monday. And then on Monday, he'll be on the podcast to talk about the announcement and a little Conway and Whitman reunion. In fact, you know what I'm going to do, Randy Wang?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to sit where our guest, who we won't name yet, I'm going to sit where the guest is in the number 2 position and let Tim sit here, and I'm going to let him be like the lead, so it's really like the Conway and Whitman show.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, man. Look at you, man.
Someone to wrangle you. It's great.
Someone to wrangle. Well, you wrangle me a little bit. Got some emails about you wrangling me. Some people think it's cool. Some think it's annoying. But we'll talk about that later. I don't mind. I've never minded. If it's in good fun and I'm the butt of the joke and I'm the foil, I've never cared. As long as it's funny. As long as it's funny. If it's, Brian Whitman needs new material. He has no material. That's untrue. It's not funny. And I'm the butt of, and it's not even a joke, so I can't even call myself the butt of a joke because that's not even a joke. 2 Jews are walking by a Catholic church. That's a joke. Or at least the start of a joke.
Do you remember when you did Henny Youngman's act as Lycus?
Well, what happened was Tom was complaining at 97.1 that I didn't do jokes. And I would say to Tim on the air and say to the audience and all of you guys, when I do Lycus, I don't do jokes because Lycus doesn't do jokes. When I do Rodney Dangerfield, I say, oh, I'll tell you. I got to Vegas. I got in the cab. I said, take me where the action is. He drove me to my wife's house. Oh, I'll tell you, I got no respect at all. So you're doing Rodney, you're doing a joke. So I figured, okay, Tom wants jokes he gets. I did Dangerfield jokes, take my wife, please, jokes. I just did went to Rodney. I definitely remember Rodney. It was like, I'm doing all right today. But yes, it was a tough day. I went to my psychiatrist's office. I said, I feel like I'm a dog. He said, get off the couch. Oh, I tell you, it's. So that was the kind of thing that I did there. Our special guest, before we get to some emails, my email address is my name, emailwhitman@gmail.com, emailwhitman@gmail.com. If you have any technical questions, Randy Wang 2, Randy Wang, the number 2, @gmail.com. All right? Randy Wang, the number 2, @gmail.com. Especially tell your friends because Monday is a special Conway and Whitman reunion right here on the Brian Whitman Podcast Show. So the day to listen, if you went $5 for a month of shows, the day to listen for sure is Monday for the special Conway and Whitman reunion show when we get to talk about Tim's next exciting project. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. But I want to introduce right now, some people say, they email, they say, Brian, you have a lot of former KLSX 97.1 FM Los Angeles guests on. That's because we do have subscribers from Greece, Toronto, the Caribbean, people back in New York, my friends from WABC, and thank you for listening, San Diego, some of my old listeners from KGB in San Diego 13 years ago. But most of our subscribers at brianwhitman.com, $5 a month. It's the cost of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. They're 97.1 listeners. And with the demise of 97.1, the FM talk station, we decided to bring back some, particularly some Conway and Whitman folk. Frank Kramer here is going to come on, and a lot of requests to get Heidi Hamilton in here. So we got to work on that.
Well, that might not happen.
Why do you say that, Randy? To be negative, or do you have a real reason?
I don't think she'd come over here.
There's nothing wrong with my house.
Yeah, but I still don't think she would.
Why?
Because Frosty wouldn't.
Well, Frosty is the first person to deny doing it. But Frosty had a good reason, good professional reason. Heidi and I have a nice personal relationship.
Yeah, I don't think she's coming.
Okay, you've said that 5 times. Third time for me. Why?
Because you don't trim your nose hairs. It's disgusting. This is 2 days in a row. Trim your nose hairs, please. No, the other one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is kind of long. Oh, look, I can tie it in a knot. Hold on a second. Look at that. Oh. Look at that, dude.
Oh, God.
Like a shoelace, like a bow, like a shoelace.
Can I be, far away from you?
You can go to the emergency room. You look like you're going to throw up.
Yeah, but I got to move to the other side of the table. This is gross.
Right, because my hygiene, of all the dudes you've ever met in radio, yourself effing included, Mr. Same black shirt every damn day, hygiene.
It's a new black shirt every day.
That's the guys who wear the same thing every day always say, "Oh, no, I have 12 of these." No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You got one of them, dude, and you wear it every day because it's got the same spot on it.
No.
Don't you fool me. You mother effer. Our special guest, Gerry Wachowski, man. Look at you.
You bitch.
Gerry Gomez.
How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good, Brian.
Give me
I'm
a
good.
hug. I love you.
Brian,
Give me a
come
hug.
here, Brian.
Gerry Gomez.
I'll give you a kiss, too.
No.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. There you go. All right, very good. He kissed me. Oh, God. There's that laugh.
I gave you a little kiss on that Kepler, Brian.
Now, I couldn't believe it because I left the station in March of 2008, and then it was shortly thereafter that you got the old get out.
Well, I mean, the circumstances over my departure were a little different than yours.
Yeah, Randy orchestrated yours.
Wait, what?
We'll get to that in a second.
I was kind of railroaded out by Randy.
What? Kind of. Well, hold on.
To put it nicely.
You'll have a chance to respond. So what were the circumstances other than the obvious? Randy came in there wanting your job from the second he walked in. Eventually he got it because he's insidious and conniving. But what were the circumstances? Who sat you down and said, dude, it's over?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny because there's a funny story behind it. Me and Mitch were playing golf that day. A friend of mine named I have a friend named Mitch.
Now, for how long had you been called Gerry Gomez at this point?
Well, I was on and off Gerry Gomez.
Right,
I never liked that Gomez thing at all.
You think? Well, because for 3 years you were on our show, you were Gerry Wachowski.
Well, that's my name.
Of course it is. And your email address is your name. Gerry, blowmeupjerry.com. But Jack Silver got it in his head, his one idea for the day. Oh, there's not enough Jews in L.A. Not enough Jews in L.A. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone say.
No, there's too many Jews in L.A. Wasn't it?
No, then why change your name from Wachowski? You'd appeal to other Jews.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Theoretically.
That's
right. That's how the radio program. The radio program director thinks we got a guy with a Jewish name in a town with a ton of Jews. It works. But there's also a lot of Latinos, Latinas, so-called Hispanics. Some don't like that word. So Jack, his one idea for I think for the month or for the week?
For 2008.
Oh, for 2008. Okay. So he got it out of the way early.
Yeah.
In the first quarter of the year. Was, let's call him Gerry Gomez. So suddenly, I hadn't been listening because, I just was doing my own thing and working on some stuff. And, you leave a show, you leave a show. You don't sit there and listen every day. That would be an odd thing to do.
But that's what you do.
That's what I do?
You listened a lot.
No, Randy, I didn't.
You always call and say, I swear I didn't listen, but I heard this and it was great.
Honest, on my honor, I didn't listen a lot.
I think you did.
No, I'm telling you.
I think you sat at your house from 8 to 11 every night listening to every word.
Right, that's what I did. I never, ever did that. How about when you did the clip show and you played a bunch of clips of me? I had no idea. The night, Martin Luther King night, when I knew you were playing it, I tuned in for about 15 minutes and heard one live, and then I came back to the house, and I don't really listen to the radio unless I'm laying in bed, like an old woman would listen to an all-news station while she lays in bed. No, honest to God, and that's kind of been.
Aren't you usually laying in bed?
And that's kind of a professional thing for me. When I would leave not laying in bed, Gerry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, like Cirque du Soleil in that bed, man. When I leave a radio station, I don't generally listen to the show. I mean, do you think Doug Steckler listened to me when I came on after him?
Well, he's not insane.
You don't know Doug.
I met him. He's
What?
one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh, not one of. Could be the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that he's insane. I don't know him, but I'm using him as an example. Do you think any person would sit there and listen to a show they used to be on?
Only you.
I didn't do it, so say what you will. I didn't do it. Sometimes I listened because I love Tim. I wanted to hear what Tim was up to, so I listened sometimes, but very, very rarely. One time I happened to be in the car, and I hear, hey, Gerry Gomez. I said, What happened to Wachowski? And then I hear your voice.
Yeah.
So they approached you to change your name because there's not enough Jews in L.A. Yeah, that's knowing the city you work in. Not enough Jews in L.A. Okay. Well, and then there are not enough blacks in Harlem.
Jack said it to me kind of like jokingly. Like I thought he was kidding at first, but then it kind of went further, and I realized that
when he said it, you laughed when he said it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
stupid.
I thought it was a joke at first
because it's dumb. And you laughed, and he said, "No, seriously."
And then he's like, "No, seriously, probably like Gomez or like Rodriguez or something, something Hispanic."
Oh, so he showcased his knowledge of Hispanic surnames. Gomez, Rodriguez. What would be another? Gomez, Rodriguez, Barreras, Gutierrez. Alex Rodriguez, Ramirez, Francisco, Lopez. So did you get your choice? Did he let you choose and you said, okay, I'll take Gerry Gomez?
I think I may have actually thrown out Gomez as a joke. Didn't I, Randy?
Yeah,
you were in that meeting.
Oh, you were in the room?
Yeah, Gomez was a total joke and F it.
I think I said Gomez, yeah.
What a mistake. Oh, my God. At that
point,
point,
after that, half the time they referred to me as Gomez and half the time as Wachowski, so it may have been confusing to
well, because Tim's an honest guy on the radio. He knows everybody knows your name. When Jack told you after so many years on the station as Gerry Wachowski, eating the cat food, Gerry Wachowski, jumping over hot dogs, Gerry Wachowski, me having you honor Evel Knievel and ski at Ski Dazzle, right, as Gerry Wachowski. At that point, when he said, no, you got to be Gerry Gomez, did you think, you know what, this is not the industry for me? This is so dumb. Did Jack Silver quite possibly turn you away from an industry that you once loved?
Well, I mean, it may have also been the constant calling me an ice plant and other things as well. There was
Radio Kryptonite?
Radio Kryptonite. You know what, Jack never really knew me. So, I mean, he only knew what he heard on the radio. And on the radio, I was always kind of like paranoid over... Like if I said something that was wrong, like I kind of like my personality on the radio was not the same as my personality in real life.
That's not true. They're very similar. In my counseling, through my problems since leaving 97.1, of course, I left with a myriad of problems that you could fill a dumpster with the emotional problems and the mental problems I was struggling with. My counselor said to me, "You know what? I'm having a tough time, and I have to take my mic off the stand and sit back," because she was sitting back. She was hot. I had the hottest. This doesn't come off. Oh, there we go.
Wow.
I had the hottest counselor, Asian counselor. She said to me, "You know what, Brian? Do you know what I think might help us break through here to get through to your depression, anxiety, feelings of low self-esteem, other than the obvious insults that I would hear nightly from your partner on the radio?" She said, and that's a funny show, by the way. I said, "Thanks. I'm really not here to talk about my job." She said, "We have to talk about your job because there are two Brians. There are two Brians. There's Brian, the guy on the radio, and then there's the Brian I'm talking to."
It's a tale of two Brians.
She's like, and then sometimes in therapy, I'd be like, "Yeah, so," and she'd go, "Stop." She'd put her hand up and do the stop motion. I go, she scared the F out of me. I go, "What are you doing?" She said, "Stop, right there. Your voice changed. Your whole body language changed. I was talking to the real Brian. You were talking about your parents or talking about your dogs, and I was talking to the real Brian." But I said, "You don't understand, doctor. I'm honest on the radio. I'm honest on the radio. I mean, you guys know my personal life. Isn't it dangerously, frighteningly close to real life?"
It's only a little scarier.
Okay, so it's pretty close.
I think you were probably more honest than anybody I've ever known on the radio.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Thank you.
But I mean, there was things that I would want to talk about and say, but I never talked about just because there's it wasn't the right forum. You know what I mean? But I think it would have been funny though. But it was just the show wasn't really like me, So
yeah, well, that's fun. It wasn't the Gerry Wachowski show.
Yeah, it wasn't the Gerry Wachowski.
Randy, it wasn't the Gerry Wachowski show.
I thought it was at some point.
Was it really? This is the Brian Whitman podcast show at brianwhitman.com. You get it every Monday through Friday. You can listen on your desktop, your laptop. A lot of people burn it to a CD, listen on the way home, put it in their iPod, listen to it on the way home.
Dude, once again, you're selling the show to people that already paid to listen to it.
Yeah, so they'll get all psyched up for it. Tell their friends. We are getting a bunch of new subscribers on Monday, a Conway and Whitman reunion. Timmy Conway Jr., man. comes by the podcast, and it'll be, I promise you, like the old Conway and Whitman show, because you know what? I'm going to sit where Gerry's sitting. I'm going to let Tim sit here and go, all right, gang, it's, I guess he would say the Brian Whitman podcast show, or it's Conway and Whitman on the Brian Whitman podcast show. And
I think he'll just go with all right, gang.
All right, gang. And then I'll sit there and, all right. Gerry, you gave me a compliment saying I'm the most honest person on the radio. What's the most honest thing you ever heard me say on the air? The day day that I said I was might actually, if there was one, this I still get emails about this. One day on the radio, I was so depressed when I was really deeply depressed. Do you remember this?
I know what you're going to say.
And
Wait, you were depressed on the air?
You're about to say something about a light switch, right?
Right.
Oh, no. Not this.
There was a light switch. I looked at my bedroom wall, the light switch, and I thought to myself, honestly, if I could flip that switch, if it were that easy, and I could somehow not kill myself, but somehow just be taken out of this body and be free of all of this and just be like not depressed and full of anxiety, which thank God I'm not half as bad as I was before. I've gotten a lot of help. I would have flipped that switch, and if it meant going just somewhere else, I would have done it. We got a lot of email on that. People were really responded to that. They were like, oh, my God.
That's a cry for help, Brian.
It is. That's what people said. And they said, but, Brian, I feel that way, too. And then whenever I would talk about my Gerry, come on. You're a guest. It's not appropriate.
What? I thought it was okay.
No, dude, it's not appropriate. For a guest, Randy, it's not appropriate.
Yeah, especially when you do it.
That's not comedy, Randy.
Yeah, no, it is, because you're always trying to throw burps in and blame it on me, then you blame it on Gerry, just to admit you're the one that friggin' burped.
Randy, please, you got to get comedy. The comedy was that Gerry
No, the
did
comedy
it.
is that you think Gerry did it, but you're the one that burped.
No, Gerry responded to it perfectly, and then you're a wet blanket, bitch tits. You're a wet blanket. You're a comedy wet blanket. The other thing, I would get a ton of email still, of course, is my obsessive-compulsive disorder, when I'd say that it took me 25 minutes to leave the house to get in the car to come to work today. I'd get a ton of email about my OCD, and I would do never with Tim, well, with Tim we'd do entire hours on OCD. I mean, my OCD began as a child, standing at the bus stop. I would sit in the school bus, a yellow school bus. Yes, the long one, not the short one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was a pretty good student. Terrible SAT score. Terrible. Didn't study 1 minute for the SAT. Horrible score. But
what was it?
I don't know that I can do that. Tim and I.
You say, Brian, you say that you.
All right, 860.
Gerry had a pretty big one, right?
I didn't have a big one, but mine was like astronomical compared to that.
Yeah, I didn't study a minute, but.
I didn't study either.
But my grades were so good, I graduated high school in 3 years. I finished high school in 3 years because I never failed a class. My average was like 94, and they let me go. Just the SAT. I never studied for it, and it was like half math, half verbal. The verbal I did good. Math, I'm always been afraid of math. However, on the New York State Regents exam, mathematics, which I studied for that,
yeah.
94.
I got 100 on that one. But.
Yeah. Oh, you're great, man. You know what? When I brag, you should be able to brag. Randy, you took a Regents because no college, but high school.
I didn't even take the SATs.
Because you didn't want to go to college.
Because I didn't want to take the SATs.
Don't you have to?
Not.
Oh yeah, not if you go to. I guess.
I think if you're just going to go work for the printing press. Yeah. Which that was your plan, or go work at Magic Mountain.
I don't know what my plan was.
It didn't involve college, though.
I went to community college for a couple of years.
Oh, all right. How'd you do?
You don't really need the SAT to get in there
because you're smart. I mean, you could be academically. I think you could do okay.
Yeah, but I don't like academics.
None of us do. Do you think I'm a political... Well, I love politics. I was a political science major. Do you think I was like wacky, writing 20-page essays on the future of the... on the future of the now defunct Soviet Union and the future of...
I actually do enjoy going to school. That's why I went back to school.
Oh, if the class is really good... Well, you went to broadcasting school.
No. I
don't you want to work at AMP radio?
No.
Gerry could be the morning guy.
I never went to broadcasting school.
You could be their morning guy because I talked to the program director of AMP Radio.
Are they going to have a morning show?
He said, we're not doing anything, Brian, because what you do is, like fun stuff. We're not doing that kind of, if we even do, we're not doing that kind of thing. So what were we talking about? Something about...
every day you lose your train of thought.
OCD. I'd be on the bus, and one of my obsessive-compulsive deals was, while I sat on the school bus before it pulled away from our bus stop, whatever my mom's age was, my mom had me at 25. This was back, I was born in 1972. Today, people have kids a lot older than they did 20, 30 years ago. My parents had my older brother at 22. They had me at 25. And so say she was 32. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the bus. I would have to, every morning, sitting alone, of course, on one of those, on those, the big chairs in the bus, which could accommodate two. And I was always like, F, if somebody sat next to me. I wanted my own room, little space. I wasn't a fat kid, like I imagine the two of you were, but I was.
Thanks a lot,
what?
Brian.
Did I say? Is this on? This is we're doing.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. We're doing a show here.
Oh, sorry, dude. It's a Brian Whitman podcast show. So I'm sitting there, and I would have to obsessively, compulsively stare at my parents' house, which I could see from the bus, and in my mind, not out loud, I would have to count. Counting's a big part of obsessive compulsive disorder. So is hoarding. There's a whole lot of stuff. Hoarding, like mail, like you see stacks of mail in my house.
Like if you look at his garage, there are nothing but boxes and boxes and tapes and boxes.
That's
his
my
office is nothing but boxes and tapes. And
those
boxes.
tapes are my career, retard.
I know, but it's nothing but
my
boxes.
career's on tape.
Yeah, but why don't you organize it?
What is with my voice? My career's on tape. Bart, Homer, my career's on tape. Why do you complain about the tapes?
It's like
my entire career is on tape. It's like what?
I thought you were doing Sam Phillips at first.
Well, that's my version of sure, which is Marge.
Aw, you guys.
Homer. That's a decent Marge Simpson.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's all right. It's passable.
Sammy's still really pissed at you, by the way.
Sam's going to come on next week. I got 3 emails from dudes yesterday. Email Whitman@gmail.com to give the sex review. I have gifts for Sam, and I sang on her birthday, called her voicemail, sang happy birthday, as Tom Likas. Full with happy birthday to you, dear. Happy birthday to you, darling. Happy birthday, dear Sam. Happy birthday to you. Click. So she's fine. And after the night we had, it's all guys want to know about. So next week, Monday, Tim Conway Jr. is our guest. Here's the OCD when I'm a kid.
What'd you do on the bus?
I would have to keep a vision, keep looking at the bus. Couldn't take, who just did that? There was a noise from someone.
That's me. I'm hungry.
That's your stomach?
Yeah.
Heard that.
Can I go to McDonald's?
In a little bit, the podcast. You could, by the way, you could bring. No, you cannot. No, you cannot bring food to the podcast.
Can I have a smoke?
No, not. Conway can smoke on. If Conway smokes, you can smoke on Monday.
All right,
but
I don't think Randy smokes cigarettes though.
No, I do.
But I'm not going to get.
Really?
I'm not going to get into battling cigarette smoke. When I was a kid, both my parents smoked. My brother smoked, and I was the only one who didn't smoke.
I thought you were a big weed smoker.
Oh, that too. Totally.
Oh,
I didn't know you took up cigarettes.
Do you want to know what happened on the goddamn school bus?
What the hell was that?
You look like a pterodactyl.
Do you want to know what happened?
Ahead.
All right.
Say it.
I'd have to stare at the house before the bus left. And in my mind, I'd have to count to my mom's age, but not count to 32. I'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I'd have to squeeze in as many as I could while maintaining eye contact with the house, because I thought at 7 years old, if I didn't do that, something bad would happen to my mom.
Did you think that your mom did that for you also?
No.
So you knew that it was like a strange behavior for even at 7.
Every obsessive compulsive person knows that what they're doing is illogical,
ridiculous,
unreasonable, ridiculous, insane, but you just can't stop doing it. Your fear is, as a child, and for me, was always my mom. If I don't do this, something bad will happen to my mom. For example, my friends and I go to the store to get candy, a local candy store. I'd have to stop if I had a bad thought, and the thought would come in my mind like, oh my gosh, my mom's going to get hit by a car. Boom. It just comes into your mind. I would have to stop. I would have to, while they're all walking, 3 other, 10-year-olds, I'd have to stop, walk backwards, then walk back over the space where I had that bad thought, and consciously have another thought, a good thought, to, in effect, erase the bad thought so that she wouldn't get hit by a car. That's just one of many OCD rituals.
God.
And I once had a friend of mine, my best friend's brother, who worked at a gas station across the street from the sidewalk where I used to do my back and forth nonsense. And he one day said to me, it was the first time I was ever encountered about my OCD, and I was 11 or 12. And he said, Brian, I was pumping gas. I noticed you walk on the sidewalk. You stop and you go back, and you stop and you go back.
He's moonwalking back.
And I'm like, and then I went, hee. Hello, I love you, Shema. I said, yeah, I'm trying to do the moonwalk, dude. No, I said, that's the electric slide. No, I was so embarrassed because that's the first time I was nailed on my OCD, and I didn't know what to say. And I never knew what I did or why I did it. I'd have to shut doors 3 times, check the lock 3 times. 3's a big thing for me. Everything in sets of 3, all for security. And it's a fake sense of security. I have a lot of books. I have a book inside called Brain Lock. Brain Lock is a book that talks about obsessive-compulsive disorder, and it tells you that when you're leaving the house and you know you've locked the door, you're a smart, intelligent person, you know you've locked the door. Maybe you check the lock once. That's a normal activity.
Yeah.
When you feel the need to then do it 3 times in sets of 3, like a total of 9 times, you say to yourself, and this is a doctor wrote the book, this is what they say you should say to yourself. This is not me. This is my OCD. This is a disorder I have that this is not normal. This is not, my brain is just not normal to carry out these obsessive compulsive. Obsessing is the thought, the obsession of, or the thought that you obsess about.
It creates anxiety.
Absolutely. And people with high anxiety already, then you add OCD, you're nuts. And if you don't have high anxiety and you have OCD, you become nuts. The compulsive is the compulsive act. The counting is the compulsive act. The obsession is something bad will happen to my mom if I don't do this.
Yeah, but Brian, after looking at that book, because I know a little something about OCD.
Have you read? You and I have shared.
Well, I mean, I have OCD. I don't have OCD to the extent I don't think that you have it, but
do you know?
I do rituals and stuff. I know what you mean, and like people without OCD can never understand it. Like it will never make sense to somebody without OCD. But what I was going to ask you though was that.
Do you remember, buddy? Real quickly, Brian Whitman podcast show at brianwhitman.com. Remember that story? Do you remember, dude? One of the very first conversations you and I had.
Yeah,
I was in the green.
I remember.
I was brand new.
First day I think it was the first day I met you.
Yeah, and
and
I talked on the air, of course, about my OCD on probably the first show. And you approached me in the green room before the show, and you shut the door, and you said, "Can I ask you something?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Brian." And you said, "I'm Gerry Gomez." And I said, "No, that's 3 years from now. You're still Wachowski." And you said, "Do you really have OCD, or is that just a bit on the show?" I said, "No, buddy, I've had it. I'm pretty honest on the air. I've had it my whole life." And you said, "I do too." Yeah. And we had it pretty honest. Well, and I'm
not as open about it as you are.
Well, I was pretty comforting, wasn't I? I was pretty.
Well, no, it's always it's always a comforting and a good thing to meet somebody who has it because they know what you're going through.
Well, it's like alcoholics and drug addicts. You meet people who have similar experiences.
But what I was going to ask you though is that you said that you read in the book where it say that you're supposed to say that no, it's my OCD, it's not me.
It's not me.
But
it's my OCD.
If you do that though, you keep obsessing over the thought anyways. That doesn't replace the thought. Right? Have you tried that?
I've tried it once or twice, but the thought keeps coming back. By the way, if you hear stuff in the background, my neighbor's having yard work done, so you might hear like a weed whacker. That's not a sponsor for the show. We don't have like what's a company that makes yard?
Osh, Ace Hardware.
Why do I think Makita?
I don't know.
Does Makita, is that a Japanese company that makes like? Anyway, they're not shooting the sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the house next to me. That's just Gerry Gomez doing his job over there. You know what? That was racist, and I apologize. That was totally racist. That was totally and completely racist. But based on the fact that we had brought up Gerry Gomez, I did the joke. It was racist, and it was wrong. Turn off the mother effing thing. We're doing a podcast. It's $5 a month.
The one good thing about Gerry Gomez is Gerry actually does a pretty good Spanish voice.
He does.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry does. But between you and Gerry, and despite the fact that Randy hates me now.
Yeah, totally.
You do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, be serious.
Okay, I'll be serious. I don't hate you. I never could hate you. But you drive me effing crazy.
Okay. A lot of people who do what I do drive their producers and coworkers crazy. Okay. All right, fine.
Brian just has a very structured way of he wants structure to everything.
I didn't drive you crazy, Gerry.
No, I mean, you never drove me crazy because well, I mean, not to the extent that you drove Randy crazy. I mean, Brian, I can see it's because of our kindred spirit. It's because of our kinship.
Kindred
our
Spirits.
OCD.
Kindred Spirits is a great book if you love dogs like I do. I have a great book in the on the coffee table called Kindred Spirits. It's about dogs and humans.
Yeah, I was reading that while I was pooping in your bathroom.
Thank you. And by the way, Randy, if you come here for the podcast and you have to use the bathroom at the Casa de Whitman, what's the rule with bathrooms? You
Use the guest bathroom.
never use
Brian's bathroom.
There you go. So back to me driving you nuts.
We're kindred spirits, so I never I was never really like that amazed by your craziness. Like somebody who doesn't have OCD wouldn't, because Tim was kind of set aback by it. Originally,
Steckler has OCD.
Yeah, Steckler has some crazy tendencies too.
You think?
Yeah, but I mean, like you never drove me crazy to the extent that you drive Randy crazy. I forgot his name for a second.
Well, the thing is, I feel like with Randy, when I was at the radio station, I did. Am I the easiest guy to work for or with? No. You know what Adam Carolla said to me at Camacho's once when Tom Leykis did the world-famous Leykis dance? And one day we'll set up a webcam and we'll webcast a show, because you said it only costs like $20, right?
Yeah, but if I could barely figure out an audio board, I don't
Or
think
I'll
I
do
could
it on
figure out a
YouTube.
webcast.
Do either one of you have a camera where I could do the Leykis dance and we could put it on YouTube?
I got one on my cell phone.
No, we need
That's
like
about it.
I bought a camera, like a $900 Sony little handheld. I have no idea. I lost it. I just don't know where it is. Honest to God. I bought a $300 iPod. The cellophane didn't even come off it. I have no idea where it is. I bought a BlackBerry.
You wouldn't even know how to put songs on the iPod.
That's why I didn't open it. I bought a BlackBerry. I used it, got a few emails. The battery went dead that it comes with. Never charged it. Didn't know how to charge it. Never used it.
How many of these purchases do you make?
I've stopped buying.
Are those impulse buys?
They are. They're impulse buys. This is when there were times in my life I made decent money. I was at the store, at the Apple store. I got an iPod. My buddy was with me. I said, I hear a little buzz.
That's somebody's cell phone.
All right.
Probably yours.
I turn mine.
No,
I put
mine
on
makes
silent.
noise.
No, Jerry's is fine. It's
I put mine
always
on
Brian's when this happens.
No, it's not actually, Randy, but nice try. So I'm there at the Apple store. I got an iPod. I said to my buddy, you want an iPod? He said, well, why? I said, because, dude, I'll get you an iPod. Bought him an iPod. He wears it all the time, plugged it in, hooked it up to his Mac, uses it. Mine, wrapped in the cellophane on the kitchen counter for 18 months. So it's the Brian Whitman podcast show at brianwhitman.com. Before we get to some of the emails and a little bit of audio, we have to talk about Randy's insidious, sadistic effort from the first day. Now, understand, Gerry worked at the radio station. Randy got his job this way. Hi, is this Conway Whitman show? Hi, I'm Randy. I'm Ryan Wong.
Randy basically sucked the dick of everybody at the radio station.
And to think he's still doing it with the station out of the format is kind of weird. As there's no more station, but he's still doing it.
He's a professional fullator.
Yeah. All right.
It's a service industry.
By the way, you notice radio programmers and executives, some of whom I know are listening, I don't use the foul language. It's the other people, because I don't think I'm Howard Stern. I don't need to say the F word.
No, you got to censor yourself instead of being fluid and human.
No.
Nobody said the F word.
Here's
said the F word.
Here's fluid and human. You're a goddamn fat retard, moron.
Well, okay, I'll take the fat, but why am I a retard?
Because what you just said is stupid.
You said bitch tits earlier, too.
Well, bitch is a female dog.
But tits isn't a radio term.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I think...
No, he freaks out if you say the F word. He freaks out.
Because you know why? I'm trying to do dude, listen to me. On the radio, to say that guy, if you're talking about your boss, the manager of the radio station, the program director, the engineer, Gerry, anybody, to say that guy is a mother effing S-head and a sea-sucker, that is so much funnier than saying that guy's a mother blanking.
You got to censor yourself.
I don't
it's the
censor.
internet.
Jerry, you just said 10 minutes ago I'm the most honest guy on the radio you've ever heard. I say effing.
Brian doesn't cuss that much in real life.
In real life,
sometimes you have obviously cussed before. But
I swear every day.
But you're not a big swearer. Like I don't consider you a big swearer.
Well, if Conway is a 10 when it comes to swearing, I think we'd all agree.
You're probably like a 3.
Yeah, probably a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
But if it comes out, big deal.
And it has come out. You're a shithead. It came out.
There we go.
Good. There it is. It came out. So let's talk about Gerry, who worked there, who did a great job. Ryan Wong, like so many, that's how I got in the business. But I couldn't get the job of anyone at the radio station. I was 13 years old. I called up the radio station doing Ronald Reagan. Well, hello, I am. And they'd interview me, and they go, "This kid's 13." So I was a regular on the show, and that host's name was Scott Shannon, who started me in radio. And, of course, to those listening who live in Los Angeles, Southern California, the same Scott Shannon from Pirate Radio. And I want to make it a free sample. If you'll do this for me and bring your hard drive, we got to do it, dude.
What do you need?
You know what I need. I need it for you to download a Casino Talk segment and some more extras for our website for subscribers and non-subscribers. And what we're going to do is, people have suggested, Brian, here's a really good idea. Take a free show or two and put it on your website to entice future subscribers. I think that's a good idea, and I think we'll do it. I don't know if this is the show I'll choose, but we'll choose one. Let's talk about Randy's desire to call the station with those fat little fingers. Hi, I'm Ryan Wong. I'm Ryan Wong. I really am a huge fan. I've been listening to the station since I'm like 12 years old. Before I worked at Magic Mountain. Oh, it's Mickey. Before I worked at Magic Mountain. Before I worked at my dad's printing press.
I don't think Mickey's at Magic Mountain.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
I'm just doing Mickey because I was doing a little kid's voice. And I just love radio. And I love Conway and Whitman. And it would really be the thrill of a lifetime. And I'm a fat kid, so I don't have much enjoyment in life. People make fun of me at school. If I could come to the radio station and just see the setup, that would be great. So he shows up with another guy named Manny, the coolest dude in the world, who calls himself Conway and Whitman fan number 2. Manny says he's Conway and Whitman fan number 2.
You showed up with somebody that?
I don't think you have the story right at all.
Dude, you called and asked to come on to come to the radio.
That's not how it happened at all. All right, and it's a little...
Correct me, but do it quickly.
All right.
It's not the Randy Wang show.
All right, then fuck, I'm not even going to talk.
I just said tell the story.
All right, here's this quick story. I built a MySpace page for Conway and Whitman.
Right.
You guys were making fun of it on the air.
And then
I called in to defend it really quickly, and Gerry asked, would you like to come on the show sometime?
Right, that was the bit.
Because I was producing.
You came in, and your Conway and Whitman was like a tribute MySpace. It was cool. It was a nice thing to do that you did. You have a lot. Randy Wang has a lot of talent. I give Randy Wang a lot of S, I'm going to say.
All right.
All right? But the guy has a lot of talent. A lot of talent. You
just used a lot 3 times. I think that's too many. A lot of talent for Randy.
All right, it's too many for Randy. But if I was
too many for Randy.
But if I was talking about David Copperfield, it wouldn't be enough.
There wouldn't be one.
David Copperfield is phenomenal. Have you guys ever been to the Magic Castle?
He's a hack.
You're talking about the classic book, right?
Excuse me. David Copperfield is a hack?
Yes.
Have you ever seen his live show? I've seen it twice at the MGM in Vegas.
He's a hack.
Have you seen his live show?
Penn and Teller are much better.
Siegfried and Roy were great. I'm a member of the Magic Castle here in Hollywood. If you have to be a member, it's a private club, got to pay dues. If either one of you guys want to go and see Magic, a night of Magic, I'll take you as my guest.
We have to spend the night with you?
You know what, Randy? Seriously, you pretend to not like me because here's what happened. Here's what happened. You got into the mode of arguing with the host because when I left Conway and Whitman, the natural relationship, the natural chemistry between Tim and me was often adversarial. The fights were entertaining. You somehow were either instructed or got it in your head, oh, Whitman's gone now. There needs to be someone to kind of fill that role. I obviously don't have the talent Whitman has, but let me try to be adversarial just to keep it going. And you don't be adversarial just to be adversarial. The fights will happen.
No, I honestly don't want to spend any time with you outside of this house. That's what I mean. I don't want to go to the Magic Castle with you. It wouldn't be a fun night.
I do want to go with you, Brian.
Why, Randy?
Because I'd have to pick you up, and it'd be an ordeal. And
No, I drive.
you wouldn't drive.
I would drive.
You don't have registration.
Turns out I do.
You got your car
It's
registered.
being overnighted. The girl I used to live with, who now lives on the East Coast, who I talked to yesterday, she goes, I have your registration. I said, I need it. I'm running around thinking I have an unregistered car. I have all my friends picking me up so I don't get pulled over. She goes, I'll overnight it. So I'll pick you up. There is one drawback. You do have to wear a suit jacket. You have to wear a suit.
I have suits.
Would you like to go? Or do you really dislike me so much that you don't want to go?
I need a break for a while from hanging out with you. Then maybe I'll go.
I want to go.
Right, because I'm so...
For real, I want to go.
Because I'm so horrible, right?
You're not horrible. It's just the conversation never stops.
Because we're doing a talk show.
No, once I...
Wait a minute. You know what? Let's try your experiment.
No.
Let's let the conversation
That didn't
stop.
make any sense.
Good talk
Oh, no,
show,
what-
Randy.
what I
You're
mean-
right.
what
Let's
I
let
mean
the
is
conversation stop.
What I mean is the conversation never stops once I leave this house. You call me every 20 minutes asking me some stupid question about the website or about this, or can you go download this off my TiVo? Can you do this? Can you do that?
Because we have new subscribers who run into technical problems, and I don't have the knowledge. I'm complimenting you. I don't have the knowledge to fix technical problems. That's why I tell our subscribers, if you have a technical
It's
issue...
not even technical problems. You called me 4 times asking where headphone jacks are.
I was having an obsessive-compulsive episode over the headphone jacks, and it wasn't 4. It was really more like 1 or 2.
No, it was. We bought 4. There were 2, and you kept freaking out. Where are the other 2 headphone jacks? I can't find them. Where are they? I don't know where they are. The headphone jacks. They cost $1. Who gives a shit? Sorry.
I swear to God, I am someone who honestly has no idea. I understand that my emotional issues, my mental issues, my obsessive-compulsive, my neurosis, I understand it makes me, to some, difficult to deal with. But the level of anger and the attacks that I've been subjected to professionally on the air by colleagues, Randy, who wanted me to do this podcast, it was his idea that I do a podcast.
And you got to bring that up every day.
Because for a long time I said, I'm not going to do that. But I'm doing it, and now you complain that you don't want to do it.
I don't say I don't want to do it. I just don't want to talk to you 17 times a day.
We never talk 17 times a day.
I'm going to pull up my phone record.
I honestly don't know.
You do call a lot. I mean, I think...
I
Brian,
like to talk to friends.
Listen, your neuroses and all that. It's like that's not what. But it's the fact if you call somebody like over and over. I think that might be what Randy's. I think that might be Randy's like entire problem.
But he is the technical guy, and we do have people subscribing because on the Brian Whitman podcast show on Monday, our special guest is Tim Conway Jr. Conway and Whitman together again Monday right here at brianwhitman.com on the Brian Whitman podcast show. Randy does all of the tech. Randy has 2 jobs: the technical stuff, the sound effects, the recording, the computer work, and computer work with our subscribers. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to prep. He doesn't have to decide what to talk about on the air. He doesn't have to be the funny one. There's no pressure on his career of doing a podcast. He's not the one that a radio executive's going to download the show to hear if he wants to hire this guy. There's very little pressure, dude. Why you're so angry? There, I swear to you,
The pressure comes from your phone calls. I told you this yesterday. That's what it comes from. You call and it never stops, and I can't have a life because I have to go back and check the website every 20 minutes.
But Ryan, when you get Ryan, I'm calling him his real name because I'm trying to make a point.
Whenever anybody's mad at you, they call
What's
you
your
Ryan.
What's your middle name? Chang? Ryan Chang Wong?
Daniel.
Ryan
No,
Chang
no,
Wang.
it's Chang.
It's Daniel.
Chang. Ryan Chang. You got in this house. Ryan Daniel Wong.
Wong. It's so ridiculous.
It
You're hardly
is.
Asian.
His mom is totally Chinese.
She's not.
I was on the phone with him. In the background, literally, it's this. Randy, we're going to be late for you. Got to get our phone. We got to go to dinner. We're going to be so late for a restaurant.
She's not Chinese.
That's what I heard over the phone. Or you have a maid who's Chinese.
No.
Her name's Sue Lin, isn't
Does
it?
somebody have does somebody have a math tutor at the house who's Chinese? That was racist. I'm sorry. That's the second racist comment I made.
Jesus Christ. And Jerry's here, and you're the one that's racist.
Well, Gerry is really racist.
All right, so, Brian-
I don't have a racist bone in my body.
Brian, here's my last 40 received calls on my
But
cell
dude,
phone.
this is a podcast is a work in progress. It's not like.
But I'm just going to prove a point here. All right, Brian Whitman, Gerry Wachowski.
And then I want to talk about you stealing my friend Gerry's job. And I got an
we'll
email.
get to it.
So
Brian Whitman.
Hurry up.
Brian Whitman.
What time? Give times.
Brian Whitman.
Give times. This could be
They're all like a minute apart.
because I do call. Sometimes people miss, and a lot of people do that. They call the cell phone.
How come you don't leave messages?
I've tried to explain this to him 100 times. Just leave a goddamn message. Don't call over and over again.
Because on your cell phone, you saw I called. That's
no,
the message.
but
That's
Brian,
like a
Brian.
page. It's a page. You
But
see,
honestly, like if somebody calls a lot and they don't leave a message, it makes it look like it's not important. Like honestly,
maybe it's not important. Maybe, hey, buddy, what are you doing? You're my friend. I love you.
Two in a row here. Brian.
I would love to get a message.
You know
from
who
one day.
Randy wants to be?
3 in a row.
Randy wants to be Tim Conway Jr.
I don't know about that.
I think you do. I think you're in love with him, actually.
No.
He doesn't have the Kirkland signature garb yet.
Here's 3 in a row.
I think you want to be Tim Conway Jr.
Oh, my God. 4 in a row.
What time difference, please? Give duration of time.
Alrighty.
Because that could be
2:59,
PM?
3:01, 3:03, and 3:05.
Why wouldn't you answer? That's obviously something important. Then leave a goddamn message! Answer the phone.
Leave a message. I don't want to talk to you sometimes. Maybe sometimes I'm hanging out with my friends or I'm trying to bang this girl and I got to talk to you about the goddamn website.
Randy, you'll never bang that girl.
But let me dream. Let me believe that I can have a life outside of talking to you all day
Why are your
long.
nipples hard? Why are your nipples hard, Randy?
It's cold out here.
No, because he's sitting next to me and he's secret. No, because I said you're in love with Tim Conway Jr., which initiated a biological reflexive response, and his nips got hard. He's got hard nips, man.
Hey, all I'm going to say is I've never, ever had 1 ounce of stress in 3 years of working for Tim Conway Jr. Working with you for 3 weeks, I want to kill myself.
You want to flip that light switch, right?
I want to find the light switch and just turn it off. I love you, Brian. I
That's
do.
mean. I think that's a mean thing.
I don't believe that, by the way.
I don't think
That I
that's
love
true.
you?
That's right.
How many free things? How much work have I done for you?
How many free things?
Who
Randy,
cleaned out your goddamn office? Who drove all
I
the way
gave you
around
a
giving
check.
No, who had to go drive checks down to Woodland Hills 5 different times?
I paid you for everything you did. Randy, when I was making all that money.
No, you paid me like months at a time. I built a website for you guys when I started working for Tim Conway Jr. and Brian Whitman. Tim paid me the day we did the website. You paid me 3 months later.
Wasn't 3 months later.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so now we're at an issue of payment.
It's not about payment. It's respect. It's that
You don't think I respect you?
No. Because you wouldn't respect somebody that you call over and over again,
Did you
not
hear-
allowing them to have a life.
Did you hear one of the things I said to you on the phone yesterday at lunchtime? And you're going to say I don't respect you? Do you remember that conversation when I was sitting at the restaurant
Was
and I
this
called
the
you?
12:15 or the 12:17 call?
This is the 12:17.
Do you
No,
remember?
I don't remember half the calls because I
You
tried
don't
to
remember?
block them
You
out
don't,
of my head.
you don't remember the nice things I said to
I
you?
remember the nice things, and I
And
appreciate
you
the
dare
nice
say
things.
I don't respect you?
No, I don't think as a working person, someone working for you, you don't respect that I have other things to do outside of being your producer and your assistant and your secretary who has to print out emails because you can't plug in your freaking printer.
Randy, when you were producing the Conway and Whitman show, and when you were the producer for Tim and me, anytime I asked you to do anything for me, create stationery for me, go to Pink's, pick up food, do this, do that, I would always pay you. There were times I would hand you money for doing stuff, and you go, dude, $100. All I did was go to so-and-so. I said, Randy, take it, dude.
Mm-hmm. No, a lot of times you've paid me things for fun. It's just there have been times where
I have
to
not-
do a lot of favors for you, and it's not worth my time.
Gerry, okay, I'm going to write you a check after the show.
For what?
And last week I wrote
your
you.
time.
I wrote you a check last week that you tore up.
Yeah, because I felt bad because I bought all this equipment that effed up the whole show.
Well, that equipment I had bought up. I bought.
But I had told you to buy this equipment, and I screwed up, so I didn't feel right taking the money. But it's not ever about the money.
And you know what Conway said?
Dude, it's never about the money.
You know what Conway said?
What did he say?
Every dime that comes in off that podcast, until the cost of the equipment that Whitman laid out is paid off, every dime should go to Whitman. Have I observed that? No. I've given you a check for $100. We're cashing out one account. I'm paying you there. I'm trying my best to pay you for your time, but it's a work in progress. And if Tim didn't give you a problem in 3 years, that's great. If I gave you a problem because I have a different personality or because Tim and I are different people, did I give Tim problems? Yes. Did Tim give me problems? Sure. Tim and it was all heard on the air. It was always heard on the air. But I don't understand why I'm like, this guy. I've worked for people for literally decades that I've never had a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
But it's never about the money, Brian. Hell, I worked for you guys for free for 2 years.
Because you wanted to.
Yes, I wanted to.
And the station, but Tim and I threw you money a lot of times, too.
Not a lot.
But we did throw you money.
Tim has.
Oh, but I haven't.
Only for favors.
And I've never thrown you money?
Just out of the blue? Never. I'm not saying I ever asked you to, but you haven't. I'm not saying I ever asked for a dime when I was doing the free stuff, sitting in with Gerry, making him uncomfortable because I would just sit there.
He lingered.
That's the word, the linger.
All I know is I gave you money, a lot of money, and I've canceled checks to prove it.
All right.
And no, I don't believe you love me.
Canceled?
And I don't want to sound
canceled checks over there.
Oh, Gerry, those of us in the real world who have bank accounts, which you get when you walk into the bank and show ID and fill out paperwork, they give you a thing they call a checkbook. It's like money.
Yeah.
And you can write a dollar amount on it and give it to somebody and sign it, and then that money comes out of your account. And if you don't have a $10 bill, you can write one of these checks, they call them, and then at the end of the month, you get, after the person cashes the check,
get canceled check
you get
back.
a canceled check back, so you can look at it and go, oh, that's right. I gave the water and power department $107.90. There's the canceled check. That's my proof that they presented it to their bank and got the money.
It's too much work. I just keep the money under my mattress.
Oh, well. and no, to answer your question, I don't believe you love me.
All right, then don't believe it.
And
don't believe all the work I've done for you, all the phone calls at 2 a.m. I've picked
we've done
up
this
before we started doing this
podcast.
How many
done
times
together.
have you called me at 2 a.m. and I talked to you for an hour?
Why did Sam Phillips say to me on the phone? Why did Sam Phillips say to me, you should call Randy. Randy wants to help you and do things for you, like the podcast. Sam Phillips said that to me. I didn't just pull that out of my ass, if that makes you guys happy.
I wanted to help you.
Ass.
I wanted to help you. I didn't realize that it would consume my whole life.
It's a daily podcast with subscribers who have technical problems. I thought you were a computer guru.
And email me the technical questions. Don't call me and say there's an email of technical questions. Don't.
I don't. I forward you their problems.
When you wanted to post the bulletin that Conway's coming on Monday, you send me an email, a text message, and you call while I'm running the John and Jeff show.
I thought.
You call at midnight. I'm doing a goddamn job.
No, they're in spots.
Money.
They're in spots at that time.
No, they're not.
Oh, if they followed our clock, they were in spots.
There are no spots. Kayla's X is off the air.
No, they're running a syndicated show. I know radio, dude, and cell phones are on vibrate. It was just because it was important that everyone knows Monday, Tim Conway Jr. will be our guest. I texted you because you want to be texted. I emailed you. I called you because it was really important to get that.
You only need one of these things. I check my email every 10 minutes. When I get a text message, I read it. Okay. You do not need these multiple notifications.
So you only need to be told things once, right?
Yes.
So then how come when I said to you yesterday, make sure to bring your USB so that we can pull audio off my television and we can do that tomorrow? And when I said to you yesterday, those classic calls from the AM talk station.
Because no one gives a shit. That's why. All this audio, I don't care. Nobody cares. Just talk in the mic.
See, that's not what you just said. Now you're.
No, this is my total honest opinion. All this audio it bothers me
because
just talk in the mic. People don't want to hear these clips from 20 years ago.
Oh, they don't. Here's an email from, and they're not 20 years old. And the real answer is, Brian, I told you I'd bring that stuff, but I forgot it. Proving my point that sometimes you don't have to be told something once because you smoke weed.
It's not because I smoke weed.
Or it's
because
Narcotics Anonymous.
I intentionally try to forget every conversation I have with you outside of this house.
Right, and this guy loves me.
You need to go to an NA meeting, Randy.
No, he doesn't. No, you know what? I'm not to judge what he needs to do.
I am.
I am going to smoke a huge bong load after this.
All right, so here's, since nobody wants to hear the audio, and we'll get to Randy stealing Gerry's job in a second. Since no one wants to hear audio, Jason sends an email. My email address, emailwhitman@gmail.com. Emailwhitman@gmail.com. Mr. Whitman, and by the way, I always say, please call me Brian.
You can read this whole thing. It's 2 pages.
How long have I been in radio?
He's just highlighted portions, Randy.
How long have I been in radio?
27, 28.
Not that many. I started
Last week, at one point, you said 26 years.
I was mistaken. I started.
Every time you ask him, he adds a year to it.
No, when I was on with Conway, 20 years in the business, man.
And then it was 21.
It went
a month
up.
later, it was 22.
No, it's
another month, it was 23.
On June 20th, I will be in the business 23 years. So, having said that, do you think I, in 23 years, have developed the skills or have the instinct to not read this entire 2-page email? As Gerry Gomez noted, I've highlighted certain points. Don't you think I get that?
I didn't see the highlights.
You can trust me.
Would you like a highlighter, by the way?
No, I don't need
arrows is kind of annoying.
You don't have to read the arrows, dude.
That was your cell
That's
phone.
your phone.
Who is this?
We haven't gone one show without his phone going
This
off.
is the premier radio network calling. This I should answer. This could be
We're
a
at
joke.
58
You gotta
minutes. You
answer
could
right
wrap
now.
up.
No, I got to do this. Hello, it's Brian. Yes. Bill, I hope you listen to the podcast because I just answered my cell phone live on the podcast. So I have to call you back, buddy, all right? All right. Can I say your name on the podcast? Or you would? All right, Bill Stewart. Let's hear it for Bill Stewart, everybody. See, I'll call you back. Bye.
Big Billy.
He's a good guy.
That's my homie Billy.
I don't need a highlighter. I have a pen. I was a hardcore Conway Steckler fan from 98 until Steckler left the station. When he left, I stopped listening to anything after Howard on KLSX. It wasn't until after your stint with Tim Conway Jr. ended that I found out who you even were. I've had to find audio clips of you with Conway to get an idea of what your show was like. Sir, let me just say that you are by a mile... oh, nothing. The greatest impressionist I've ever heard. That's what Timmy says, man. I tell you, man, on the planet, man. Before you, I truly thought Craig Gass was the greatest. Craig Gass is great. Pound for pound, I thought Pablo Francisco, and that's not someone I know. I don't know who Pablo
Francisco.
He's been on Tom's all the time.
I don't really listen to.
According to Tom, he's really funny.
Oh, Pablo.
Pablo Francisco.
Pablo Francisco's with us on the Tom Leykis show. I thought Pablo Francisco was pretty decent with the impressions he does as well, but nothing lacks in your impressions. That's not true, but thank you, sir. There's nothing missing. From listening to the podcast at brianwhitman.com, it also seems you're the type that won't even try an impression that isn't fully worked out. That's not entirely true either, but it's a compliment. I thank you. Thank you for caring about your craft. I do care about what I do, and that's why maybe sometimes I'm irritating to people like Randy, who I do love. I do love Randy. Randy doesn't love me, but I do love Randy.
Sure. Do you call it a craft when you reference your impressions? Or does he? I mean, but
Or does he? Who wrote the email?
I know, but would you ever reference what you do as a craft?
I don't think I ever have.
Okay, because that's such an a-hole term.
Yeah, I don't think I have. Well, I didn't write it. Someone who's putting a little money in your pocket wrote it. Jason.
All right, Jason. Thanks for the email. You're a total a-hole for using the word craft.
All right, then there's a lot of talk about Tom Leykis. I don't want to get into that. A lot of talk about people on KFI. I don't want to get into that. Sorry I keep mentioning Tom Leykis, but when I heard the think tank from 2007, Leykis revealed to me what that's not nice. I'm not going to. A lot of people in radio say nothing great about Leykis. That also says a lot. I left the final show at KLSX with very warm words, one-on-one with Tom. I've known him for a long, long time. So thank you for spoofing Leykis, and that's all it is a spoof. I know your intention is not overly negative or malicious, and that's true. But as someone who has cultivated a great disdain for Leykis over the years, this is Jason's email, it's great to hear the parody. I was never someone who could live with that much anger, so the program never worked for me. Plus, I don't hate women that much. Well, I don't think Tom hates women. All right. Since you mentioned the audio, here's the part where you said nobody wants to hear the audio. Brian, I used to listen to you on, I assume it's a gag. Oh, podcast is absolutely fantastic. Of course, the interaction you have with Randy Wang is enjoyable, but you could pull that off with anyone. To be perfectly honest, though, it's hilarious when you riff on Randy, but effing annoying when he does it to you. He just kind of sounds ungrateful and annoying, so I just assume it's a gag and move on.
Ungrateful about what?
I didn't write the email. You'd have to email Jason. His email address is his name. I just despised everyone's penchant for picking on you at KLSX. Well, the truth is, not everyone picked on me.
Almost.
Not everyone.
You got shots from every show.
And there's always a person on the station who gets that.
But every show had made fun of you at some point.
So there must be something about me interesting enough to take shots at. I don't care. I never cared. You know, a little bit I cared, but
Brian's a water cooler guy. He generates opinions. People talk about Brian because Brian's interesting.
So who at the station, in your mind, picked on me?
Let's see. Adam Carolla
said yes, that I'm probably the best sidekick in radio, best co-host.
But you wouldn't be a better host than Danny Bonaducci.
That's not picking on me. That's his opinion.
Okay.
You've never heard the private conversations I've had with Adam Carolla.
No.
Trust me, Adam Carolla doesn't pick on me. He and I have a lot of mutual respect for each other.
Okay.
So that's out.
So we have Frosty, Heidi, and Frank, and all that huge ordeal with Frosty Stillwell, who would not be your friend and would not like to go to a movie with you about Jimmy Carter.
Right. You don't know what Frosty said to me last week and the week before, or the email that I got from him.
See, Bonaducci's gone off on you a couple of times.
I talked to Danny Bonaducci. Brian! I'm having a stroke, man. Brian! Brian! Call 911.
No, drink your soda. Drink your soda. All right. Gerry, can you call?
Take it, Brian.
Guys, I'm fried. I'm fried with my tongue.
No, don't. No, come on. Come on.
Take a sip of soda.
Give me a soda. Oh, God.
Dude, how many times did I tell you, go see somebody? You all right?
Now I'm fine, thank you. You were insulting me. Someone was insulting. You were insulting me about someone.
No, you said Danny Bonaducci.
Oh, I had a beautiful conversation with Danny Bonaducci. And since Danny Bonaducci doesn't like me, how does this quote grab you? Brian, you have always been a very special person to me. I said to him at the end of the call, this was really nice because I was unsure whether to call you or not in Philadelphia at your new home because, quite frankly, we hadn't spoken in a long time. I said, so this call has been a blessing. Thank you. He said, Brian, you're right. This call has been a blessing, but the blessing has been mine, not yours. So is that a guy who doesn't like me? Let's get to a guy who didn't like me, okay? Here's the email. Brian, is it possible that one day on the podcast show you could address the incident involving the California Libertarian gubernatorial candidate in 2002? Did you follow all those big words?
Gubernatorial.
Guy running for governor.
Libertarian.
In 2002. You know, the spitting incident. I can only find written accounts online. I'd love to hear your spin on that one. Well, I'll play you the audio. What happened was, it was 2002, and Gray Davis, I'm a proud Democrat, was running for re-election as governor of California. Besides the fact that he looks like a human pencil, he was a terrible governor for whom I could not vote. He was running against maybe one of the dimmest bulbs in political history in California, Bill Simon, who I did an impression of, who, by the way, loved it. A guy was running for governor, loved the impression. Tell Brian he should do that impression of me more. That's what he said. I'm Bill Simon. He loved it. I have his home phone number. It's a very strange relationship. Couldn't vote for him because, not a lot upstairs, in my opinion. So I hosted on KABC Talk Radio 790, where I spent 7 years. I thought, I can't vote for the Democrat or the Republican. Let me bring together what they call the minor party candidates, the third party candidates, who claim they never get enough media attention. I'll do an entire hour with the Libertarian candidate, the Natural Law Party candidate, the American Independent candidate, and the Green Party candidate. So I think
noticed you left off the National Socialist. The Nazi one?
I don't think there was one of those on there. Whatever was available was there. So 3 of them were in the studio. The Green Party candidate was on the telephone. He's like a Ralph Nader dude. The Libertarian came into the radio station at KBC with a staff, like a walking staff. Have a mental image for a moment of Moses. You see him walking with a stick, don't you? That's how this guy walked with the stick. But he wasn't.
This was the guy running for governor?
Yeah, but that's okay. But he wasn't a disabled person. And he also brought me a gift. He said, "This is for you." I'm a druid. He is openly a druid. I don't know what he said, but I brought you a gift for inviting me on the air. I never get media attention here. And guess, just take one guess as to the gift he gave me. Just one
A
guess.
stick.
No, Randy, one guess.
A stick?
Well, if it was no for Gerry.
He walks hard and carries a big stick. Isn't that the phrase?
No, you know what he does?
What?
He walks softly, carries a big stick,
Okay, that's the phrase.
and gives radio talk show hosts pumpkins. So he brought a pumpkin. So he's on the air with me, and it starts to get kind of hot. This man's name is Gerry Copeland. If you read any of the news, it made national news, and you'll hear that audio as well in a moment. He was, and these are the guys who claim they never get media attention. Somebody said something which I disagreed with, and then he started talking over. He wouldn't stop. I said, Gerry, please, you'll hear the audio. I'm the moderator, the host. This is 2002. I'm going, Gerry, please, stop it. He won't stop screaming. Oh, then Brian, you supported what we did to the Chinese after World War II. I said, Gerry, please stop. So I had no option but to say to the engineer, whose name is Nicole, a wonderful woman, I said, Nicole, please turn Gary's microphone off.
Was she hot?
Very pretty girl. She turns Gary's microphone off. This makes Gerry very upset. Gerry grabs, keeps the pumpkin was mine, so he left the pumpkin for me, grabs his walking staff, and takes off his headphones. He's going to walk out of the studio. The guy who never gets media attention is now going to walk away from a hot microphone on KABC radio, on the American Broadcasting Company. I'm furious now that he would walk out, and I'm furious that he was so unmanageable as a guest. I say to him when he gets to the door, which is about 20 feet from me, I say on the air, hey, Gerry, don't let the door hit you in the ass. You'll hear that in a moment on the clip. Well, when he heard that, he turned around, he walked back toward me, got 2 inches from my face, and I thought, okay, we're still live on the air. I thought, this is it. The guy's
hit you with his stick.
No, I thought the guy's going to punch me in the face, or sucker. I better be prepared to hit the guy back. I'm going to get hit here. I don't get hit. The guy spits on me, and you hear him very clearly on the tape. You hear the man never denied it to media, didn't deny it to the police, never denied it.
That's not behavior that's befitting of a gubernatorial candidate.
Well, you'll be happy to know that calls came to me from the head of the California gubernatorial party. They dropped their endorsement of this candidate. His name remained on the ballot because it was so close to the election, but the Libertarian Party of California no longer endorsed him.
Did they get another candidate?
I don't remember, and I don't give an F. I guess they did. But here's the audio of the interview gone bad that ends with him spitting on me. Yours truly, Brian Whitman, and the once Libertarian candidate for governor of California. He's the one who really starts shouting, and you don't even have to listen that closely. You hear him spit, point blank range, right in a loogie, right in my face. Take a listen.
Don't race bait here, Peter. That's what you're doing. I want to be very clear with you. I am very proud of the history and the legacy of immigration in this country, and I absolutely appreciate the importance and the profound impact in a positive way that it's had on this country. But if I don't support giving driver's licenses to those who are not legal citizens, that should not be an invitation for you to accuse me, quite thinly veiled, I might add, of racism. And you should be ashamed of yourself for that, Peter.
No, he's not. He shouldn't be ashamed of himself at all, Brian. You totally are being a racist at this point.
Oh, Gerry,
time.
stop it.
You're sitting there saying that you're proud of this country, what they did to the Chinese back in the 1860s.
No, that's not what I said.
You're proud of the exclusion of people from this state?
Gary, what I have said to you is that I am proud.
Peter is totally correct when he calls you a racist, because you are being a racist right now.
Gary, what I am saying to you is I am proud of the legacy of immigration that this country has built itself upon.
Oh, yes, exclusion
Gary,
of Asians,
Gary,
exclusion of Japanese. Yes,
Gary,
that's really, I'm glad. Were you all in favor, Brian, of what happened during World War II?
Turn Gary's microphone off, please. Gary, excuse me, Peter, hold on. Gary is walking out. Well, don't let the door hit you in the ass, Gary. Hold on, Peter, hold on a second. The fact is that this man is a lunatic, Gerry Copeland. He is now getting up and he is leaving the studio. The fact is that I give everyone on this show an opportunity to speak. Excuse me, Gary. Did you just see that? Mr. Copeland just spit upon me. Did you see that, Nicole? I'd like to call the police, please. Mike, will you call the police? Go right ahead. Gerry Copeland, the Libertarian Party candidate for governor of the state of California, just spat upon me. And I will be calling the police, and I will be filing an assault charge against this lunatic.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Only time ever, spit in the face live on the radio. And it made for a good show. I mean, it made for a great show. It's right up there with Alec Baldwin walking out of the studio when I was at WABC. But the guy spit it right in my face.
I think I heard about that on the radio.
It was, it was national news. It was on CNN. It was on Fox News Channel. It was the talk of talk radio. It was on national news, ABC, National Network News. Actually, here's a clip of that. I called it Spitgate. Yeah, ABC News covered the story.
A candidate in a statewide election may be dropped from the ticket because he got spitting mad in California. ABC's Steve Taylor has that story.
Gerry Copeland, the Libertarian Party's candidate for governor of California, admitted to the Orange County Register newspaper that he did indeed spit on Brian Whitman, a talk show host on KABC Radio in Los Angeles. Apparently, the host and the candidate got into an argument, and Whitman ordered Coleman's microphone cut off. After that, the spittle flew. Libertarian Party officials, described by one as mortified that their candidate's behavior demonstrated such low expectations, will meet Saturday to decide what, if anything, to do about it. Steve Taylor, ABC News.
How about that? That's what it takes to get on network news. You got to get spit on. My parents were so proud. They really were. They were so proud of me. They were. Oh gosh!
And I bet you didn't go to the germ doctor afterwards. Or,
I did. I went to an infectious disease.
No, knowing you didn't. You didn't have any craziness after that.
I did. I consulted Gloria Allred, the attorney. She said, Brian, if you press charges, he doesn't deny it. He would be convicted, and then it would be very easy to, in a civil lawsuit, to sue him. I'm not a litigious person, so I did none of that. But I did go to an infectious disease doctor because I said, doctor, it sprayed at me. Some of it got close to my eye or in my eye. I said, what if this man, I don't know him, what if he's carrying something that's transmittable? She said, from saliva or spit kind of showering at you would be very, very unlikely. She said, so really, I think you're oddly enough, I never heard this, I think you're overreacting a little bit. This is a $200 visit. Do you have insurance? And I said, yes. And I felt much better, though, because I didn't want to. Not that Mr. Copeland, I certainly.
Afraid he was carrying Ebola or something.
No, I didn't know. No. I mean, I didn't know. Look, because it's in my opinion. Well, no, the fact is, I didn't know the man. I didn't know if he had any diseases. In my opinion, which is reasonable, he could have had something. I could have something. You could have anybody could have something. In my opinion, animals spit. Snakes spit, and they spit venom. Humans don't spit on other people. It's one of the most. I remember Doug McIntyre saying this on the radio after the guy spit on. Spitting on another human being is absolutely one of the most insulting things you can do to another person. All right, quickly, let's talk about, and Jason, thank you for your email. I've answered. And Jason, there's your long-distance dedication. I played the spitting incident. He heard it. We got to spend a couple of minutes on you stealing his job. Remember, Monday, guys, don't miss the Monday podcast, the Brian Whitman podcast show on Monday. Our special guest will be Tim Conway Jr. Conway and Whitman reunited, back together. Tell your friends if they want to hear Conway and Whitman. And believe me, that show will probably be longer than an hour. Or I'm guessing we got some stuff to talk about. Tim has a major announcement to make on Monday. Make sure you go to his website, timconwayjr.com. We'll talk about his announcement specifically. I'll have an interesting perspective on his announcement. He'll certainly have an interesting perspective on his announcement. Conway and Whitman reunited Monday on the Brian Whitman podcast show. Randy Wang.
Yeah.
After first stepping into 5670 Wilshire Boulevard, where we can say KLSX was, that was the building, the former E building, how soon after first walking into the building did you decide, I want Gerry Wachowski's job and will do anything Machiavellian to get the job from him?
I don't think I was ever that vindictive, but I don't know, my second, third day? No.
No, tell the
truth. I think
truth.
it was the first 5 minutes.
I think it was too. It was pretty close to. You were so nice to me that night. You were so nice you were so kind to me.
Hey, I've always been kind to you until we started working together. Then I realized that I cannot deal with you.
There's actually a while that I couldn't stand Randy.
And
Gerry hated my guts for a while.
You know what? We still work together. And I still respect you and like you and don't mind seeing you or saying hi to you or inviting you out to the Magic Castle. So, I wonder why it doesn't go both ways. I just wonder. But I'll give you a check after the show.
I don't need a check.
But back to... Sure you do.
I just got a $3,000 check today. I'm fine.
Who gave you that?
My severance.
All right, man. Severance is awesome. I got some of that CBS severance. You know what I took it in? I got fired...
March 17th.
No, I got fired on the 18th. And thanks for helping me out with that, too, by the way. Thanks for promising management you wouldn't say anything about my terrible last show. And then...
I didn't say anything. Jack walked me in his office and says, what the hell was with Whitman last night?
And what did you say?
That was a crazy show.
Told him I don't know what was going on with him, but we made an executive decision at 9 o'clock to run a best of, and Brian went home.
I made the decision. I voluntarily...
Jerry made the decision.
I don't think you made the decision.
No, I said, guys, I'm leaving.
We said you're not continuing.
That's not true. Before 9 o'clock, I said to you, I'm going to leave at 9 o'clock. Randy, I said that. I remember saying that. I said, I'm going to leave at 9 o'clock.
I think your memory's a little off.
No, I knew I had to leave.
You were so out of it.
I said to you, I'm leaving at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. I did say that to you, and I left.
I said that at 8:59.
I said, by the way, guys, all due respect to Jerry, to Randy, neither one of you had the power or the authority to tell me to leave. Neither one of you were the program director. What?
Jerry did.
No, he
was
didn't.
The executive producer.
No. I left because I was sick and knew I had to leave. Neither one of you could have made me leave.
Don't get crazy.
I'm not.
Why are you getting crazy?
I was in no position to be on the air, so I left the radio station. Voluntarily, I left. I was fired the next day. I was paid because I had a contract. And then there came a point about a month and a half later where they said, we're going to give you the rest of your contract in just a one lump sum payment. That's a nice one lump sum. Not the biggest, not the best firing ever. The biggest.
Not the biggest lump.
Oh no, the biggest lump sum. Ooh, my God! If I get a job like that every other year and be fired and get a lump sum like that, oh, what a great day that it was. Friday the 13th. What a firing! Oh, what a firing! So you realize, Randy, you want Jerry's job, and you started being very aggressive, doing everything you could to impress, which is only natural, to impress Tim and myself, to convince us, consciously or subconsciously, that you had a better work ethic than Jerry, that you had greater skills than Jerry, that you should have Jerry's job.
I don't think I was ever that vindictive or even that out. I mean, if I would...
You were out to get his job, and we knew it.
Yeah, but... I was there for 2 years before anything even happened.
You wanted his job way before the 2 years.
And my work ethic was great, by the way. I don't think you could have had a better work ethic.
He did everything he could, including private comments. Oh, I did this. Yeah, I couldn't get Jerry to do it. I had to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, laugh at your Machiavellian ass. You did everything you could to get his job.
All I'll say is I had nothing to do with Jerry Wachowski being fired from KLSX.
That is...
I know why I didn't get... First of all, I didn't get fired, for one thing. I got laid off.
Again, you have and never had authority...
As you got laid off.
You have and never had authority to fire anybody. So clearly you didn't fire him, but you were on us... Conway and Whitman. I was there, not every night, but the nights...
Definitely not every night.
But the nights I was there... Yeah, you're right. I'm such a terrible...
We had a poll going that what day of the week is Whitman going to call in?
Right. I'm a totally unprofessional.
You know what?
Right.
I kind of...
Yeah, you've gotten to where you've gotten to in my career because you're totally unprofessional, right?
Well, you weren't showing up to work.
And you know why.
You weren't showing up so much that we produced a cart called It's Witless Monday.
And you know why. And now that you know why, don't you understand why?
No.
Okay.
It's an 8 to 11 job.
I took pity on...
I had a 24/7... I have a 24/7 illness.
Yeah. But still, it's 8 o'clock.
Randy reminded me
I don't need lectures from you on work ethic. Tell Jerry, still unemployed, how many months? I mean, you bring in some money from gambling.
Well, 8 months. Like, probably since June.
How much do you bring in cash a month from gambling?
Not that much.
How much you lose a month gambling?
I'm pretty much even, really. Like, gambling.
That's
okay, all right, Brian, you don't Brian, poker isn't your forte, okay?
I'm not playing blackjack.
Jerry's a good gambler. In our last poker tournament, you got, 20th place?
I just asked...
$50, but that's not...
Are you bringing in money or losing money every month gambling?
I don't really win or lose that much at all. When I win, I end up sometimes losing back, and then I win more, and then I lose it.
No one's
that's the
even.
way poker goes.
There's no... Conway and I talked about this 2 nights ago.
I'm up for this year.
Okay, good.
I'm up for this year.
Good. How far?
I'm up. Well, I won a tournament. I won I think I won $1,300.
Way to go, dude! Way to go, dude!
But that was while I think that was while I was still working. No, it wasn't.
Congratulations.
Well, either way, I won $1,300, and then I'm still up for the year.
Congratulations,
Dude, I played Hold'em the first time at the Commerce.
Why are
a
you
months
trying?
ago.
Why are you trying to change the
I'm
conversation?
just telling him something that he'd find funny.
Yeah.
I lost $200 in 20 minutes.
Oh, I know. I saw you playing.
That was funny. He didn't just find it funny.
Hey, Gerry.
I find it
You want
funny.
to record the show? Do you want to do this podcast? Do you want to work with Brian?
I find it funny. I really find it funny. Monday, you got to be here. The Brian Whitman Podcast Show, Conway and Whitman reunion. Conway and Whitman together again. Make sure you go to timconwayjr.com for the announcement on Monday, and then listen to Monday's podcast show. It's Conway and Whitman together. No commercials, no filter. I sense Tim might do some swearing, but maybe not. I don't know. He'll probably smoke cigarettes since we're out in the backyard. But it'll be, if you enjoyed Conway and Whitman together, you can't miss Monday. And if you have a friend who enjoyed Conway and Whitman together, tell them to go to brianwhitman.com, subscribe right through PayPal. For $5, you get a month of shows. And it's Conway and Whitman. Can't wait to see my buddy again, although it's been only 8 days since I saw him. But we'll see him here on Monday. Tim Conway Jr., our only guest, just as Gerry Wachowski has been
Brian,
our only
thank
guest.
you for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Where are your buddies? I thought you were going to bring your friends.
Oh, they're working today.
Something you would know anything. Or I really
It's
don't.
a tough life, Brian.
No.
I don't need to work, but I've got to where I am. I've got to where I am in this world with my charismatic personality. Loads of talent.
You are talented. You do have talent. You are talented.
Thank you, Brian.
You should be working in radio. You understand radio. I think you should be working in radio.
You want to do a podcast show?
Believe me, if I could do this show, I would love to help Brian, but I have school Monday through Thursday, so it's hard for me.
It's just a professional relationship. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Okay.
And there's a lot.
You don't Randy, you don't realize how hard it is until you do lose your job. Believe me.
I got very lucky.
Everybody got lucky to work at 97.1.
And you know what?
It was a fun place to work.
And you're lucky to be involved in this podcast because this is an entrepreneurial thing that could bring on. We have hundreds of subscribers. It could blow up.
It could.
Right.
I've never said it couldn't.
And that was our idea going into it.
Yeah.
You got to give it a little time to see how it goes. And plus,
the podcast doesn't stress me out. Doing the show doesn't stress me out.
I'm not going to call you anymore.
You stress me out.
But I'm the guy you work with, and a lot of people are stressed out by their coworkers. I won't call you as much, I promise.
Please.
I'll text you. I'll email you. What is your email address?
randywang2@gmail.com.
No.
Here, do it with me. Do it with me.
My email address is my name, randywang2@gmail.com.
Now, there's another way to do it that's more specific the way I've been doing it.
My email address is my name, Randy Wang, the number 2,
There you go.
@gmail.com, dear.
Conway and Whitman together again Monday right here at brianwhitman.com on the Brian Whitman Podcast Show. Thank you for joining us.